Okay, well, a couple of years ago, I bought one of these Magellan MyView 320 dash cams. Magellan MyView 320 dash cam for my car. So the camera basically sits in the windshield and looks out at the road and records what I would see as I'm driving down the road. But what I found is that when I take the SD card out of the camera and I bring it into my home computer and I load the files, in other words, as I'm driving down the road, the camera records 5-minute increments per file. So if I'm driving, let's say 18 minutes, there will be 4 files. There will be a 5-minute file, a second 5-minute file, a third 5-minute file, and then a 3-minute file for the final 3 minutes that I'm driving. So as you're driving, every 5 minutes gets recorded onto one file. And then the next 5 minutes gets recorded onto another file, and then the next 5 minutes, a third file. So you end up with, as you're driving along, you end up with file after file after file that you can download onto your computer. You take the SD card out of the camera, you put that SD card into an SD card reader on your computer, and then you can click on which files. And the files have a time. I'm not sure if the time is when the recording started or if it's when the recording ended, but in general, you've got a general feel for what time each recording was made, so that if there was, let's say you saw something unusual, like a dog runs across the street at 3:55 p.m. If you look at the files for the time that would be very close to 3:55 p.m., you know that chances are that's the file that you're most interested in, or maybe it's the one right above it or right below it. But what I found is that after I load those files into my computer, sometimes my computer doesn't read them, or my editing software, primarily I use Adobe Premiere Elements, and I think it's version 2018, Adobe Premiere Elements 2018 that I'm using. And usually, I think it's the first, when I first turn on the car, the file that gets generated by first turning on the car, the computer can read. But anything after that, the computer is going to give me an error message saying that it was unable to import the file. And that gets frustrating because things can happen after the first minutes after you start your car. And you want to look back at them and maybe send them up to YouTube or edit them or do whatever with them. And yet my editing software can't open it, can't even open the file. And yet Microsoft Movie Maker will be able to open up the file, but it'll do so without audio. So I won't be able to hear what I was hearing while I was driving in the video. All I'm seeing is a silent video of the car moving down the road. And that's problematic too. And then I've also tried opening the file with DaVinci Resolve. I believe it's version 15 beta, and that, like the Microsoft Movie Maker, is able to open the file so that I can see moving down the road, but it does so without audio. So that's problematic. Well, what I've developed is a workaround where I can make the files compatible with the Adobe Premiere Elements 2018. And what's worked for me, I just discovered it earlier today, is if I upload the file to my YouTube channel and just, keep it uploaded as a private video, and then download that video back to my computer off of YouTube, then there is a means by which Adobe Premiere Elements 15 is able to open that. If oddly, if I try to open it from a file, if I go over to File and I say Open, I click on the file and I say Open, there's a high likelihood that it's not going to open for me. I'm going to get that error message again that it says it couldn't import, or that the import failed. But what did work for me was if I go from Windows Explorer and I choose the file that I'm trying to import and I drag that file over to the media section, that has worked for me. So it's not entirely reliable yet, but at least it's a workaround that is currently working for me. So I'll go ahead and turn off the camera, take you over to my computer, and show you the process of this workaround. Okay, so here we are at my computer, and you can see that I've already uploaded 3 files. These are the 3 files from when I was driving my car with the Magellan 320 MyView, or MyView 320. And it was able to, my Adobe Premiere Elements 2018 was able to read this file, but it was not able to import these 2 files. So what I did is I've uploaded all 3 files into YouTube. You can see that these are my uploads, and I've come to my dashboard videos with, I went to dashboard and then to videos. After having uploaded all 3 videos. So I used this button to upload all 3 videos. Then I came over here where I chose my account, and then I chose my, it was one of the top options over here to get me into Studio. I think it might have been the Studio option. Then I came down to Dashboard Videos, and I've already imported these 2 into, I've successfully imported these 2 into my editing software. I haven't done this one yet, so, but I have downloaded it. Let me show you the process of downloading it. If you look at the file here and you come over to these 3 dots, you'll get the option of options. And if you click on them, you can see the option to download. So if you download, or what I've found is that if I download this file that I put up to YouTube, if I use this button to re-download it back onto my computer, because when I watch this video on YouTube, I can hear the audio, I can see the video. It's the YouTube player is highly compatible with the Magellan recording file. It doesn't have any problem with the audio. It doesn't have any problem with the video. So I thought, okay, I'm just going to try this hunch. I'm going to try to load it onto YouTube, where I know the video is going to play, I know the audio is going to play. Then I'm going to come back and I'm going to download it off of YouTube back onto my computer. So I've already done that. I've already done the download. So if I come over here to my downloads, You can see that these are the 3 files that I downloaded today. I'll come over here to show me where, to find the actual location in the file. So now I've got this one right here, and I'm gonna choose, I didn't want that. I'm gonna choose to copy it, and then I'll go to here, and I'll paste. I'm going to paste the file that I recently downloaded off of YouTube. So it's this file right here. I'm going to rename it third because this is the third video in that session. In other words, this is the first video of my driving session. Then when 5 minutes was up, we moved into the second video. Then when 5 minutes was up, we moved into this third video. And all 3 of these videos, this has the beginning of Jackson Browne's The Loadout, this has the middle of Jackson Browne's The Loadout, and this has the ending of Jackson Browne's song The Loadout. So now that I've got this one here, I'm going to show you that if I right click on this and I say open with Adobe Premiere Elements, it may open that file. Adobe Premiere Elements might open that file, or it might have a problem with opening it. But even if it has a problem, I have a workaround around that. So we'll try it and see if does it work or does it fail. And if it fails, then I'll show you the workaround. I'll probably show you the workaround either way. Okay, so now it's going to take a while to open Adobe Premiere Elements 2018. So even if this fails, I still have the drag and drop option, which seems to not fail. Okay, so it says it's adding the media, and it looks like it's not going to fail. It looks like it actually worked. But had it failed, so it actually went in there. But had it failed, what I would have done is I would have scooted this over. Let's see what that is before I close it. And I could have just grabbed this and dragged it over here into my media. So let's just do that anyhow. You know what, let's grab this one and drag it in there, because I think I'm going to work with these two on this same thing. So I'm going to drag first in over here, and you can see that it just got added. You can see now I've got 2 things in my media. I've got third and I've got first. Now let's go grab second. So here's the second 5-minute increment of that drive. And I'm going to scoot this window over a little bit, scoot this window over a little bit. I'll grab second, I'll scoot it over, I'll drag it over to my media section of my video editing software. And now you can see that I've got all 3. I've got first, second, and third that I can work with. So now if I delete this, Now I can take first and drag it down into my timeline like that. Then I can manage my timeline so that I can fit all 3 videos into this space down here. And I did that by grabbing this little button right here and just making my timeline less, what's the word I'm looking for? Less precise and more easy to fit other things into. So now I'll take the second segment, the second 5-minute increment, and I'll drag it down to my timeline and bump it up against my first 5-minute timeline. Okay. And now I can grab my third 5-minute timeline and bump it up against my second 5-minute video. So now I've got all 3 videos. The beginning of Jackson Browne's The Loadout, the middle of Jackson Browne's song, The Loadout, and the end of Jackson Browne's song, The Loadout. All 3 videos are on my timeline down here, which means I can go ahead and, well, why don't I go ahead and do it right now? I can export using devices, custom, and the preset that I'm going to want to use is going to be Magellan for YouTube, which I've already created. So I'll go ahead and use that, and I'll say save, and then it'll begin the probably half-hour to an hour process of creating that 15-minute video. My computer is not the fastest computer out there by any means, so it's probably going to take about a half-hour to an hour or so to create that video. And then once that video is created by the way of Adobe Premiere Elements 2018, then I feel confident that Adobe Premiere Elements 2018 will be able to open it, and then I can manipulate the audio to make it sound a little bit better. But so yeah, that's the workaround that I've come up with, is to first upload the file that my editing software is not able to open. First upload that to YouTube, and then let YouTube fiddle with it a little bit, and then let YouTube go back to YouTube to download the file from YouTube. And it seems then that Adobe Premiere Elements is much more agreeable with opening whatever it is that YouTube did to that video. So it's saying here that, it's only going to take about 15 minutes to render my video. I don't believe that. I think it's going to take longer, but that's what it's saying here, 12 minutes left. Maybe it will do it that quickly. I don't know. But that's it. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the camera. That's my workaround. If you've got a file, a video file that is giving you trouble when you try to open it up in your video editing software, try uploading it to YouTube, which seems to have a very powerful way of opening just about anything that's out there. Try uploading it to YouTube and then download it back off of YouTube and see if your video editing software might be able to handle what comes off of YouTube better than what came off of your device. That's it. Have a good day. Thanks for watching. Bye.